Welcome to this explainer on claude-scholar's Codex CLI edition. If you've ever felt completely bogged down by the sheer mechanical overhead of academic work, managing those endless citations, tracking scattered experiment logs, or literally crying over broken LaTeX tables, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into how this specialized setup transforms a standard AI coding assistant into an absolute research powerhouse, built specifically for computer science and AI researchers. We're going to look at how claude-scholar uses specific agent patterns, skills, and integrations to totally supercharge your workflow right from the command line.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're following a 6-step journey, starting with the semi-automated assistant powering the Codex CLI, moving into ideation and literature review, tackling experiments and robust analysis, managing writing and project memory, and finally, quality control and publication.
All right, part 1, the semi-automated assistant and retaining human scientific judgment. We're starting with the foundational philosophy of this tool because it's absolutely crucial to understand what claude-scholar actually is and, maybe more importantly, what it isn't. The whole ethos here is that human decision-making stays right at the center, while the assistant accelerates the workflow around it. Right? It is not some autonomous AI scientist trying to take your job. You make the critical scientific judgments, which hypotheses actually matter, which papers are relevant, what results are convincing. The assistant, it just handles the heavy, repetitive formatting and tracking. Think of it as a semi-automated system that offloads all that structural friction so you can finally reclaim your time for actual high-level thinking.
So, part 2, powering the Codex CLI and setting up the architecture. Let's look at how this tool actually integrates into your command line environment.
The contrast here is pretty stark. Vanilla Codex is a fantastic AI coding assistant, but that's kind of all it is. The claude-scholar Codex edition, on the other hand, wraps that vanilla installation in a super rich academic toolkit, and it safely merges into your existing setup without destructively overriding your core settings. It pulls in specific configs, like the AGENTS.scholar.md file, which sets up strict project rules. Plus, it adds Toml config, sandbox security, 40 specialized skills, and 14 tailored agents directly to your terminal. It basically turns a general-purpose AI into your own specialized academic collaborator. And to make all this magic happen, claude-scholar relies really heavily on MCPs, or the Model Context Protocol. If you haven't run into this yet, an MCP is essentially a secure bridge. It lets the AI step outside the terminal and securely connect to external tools and datasets, like your local browser or your citation manager. This is exactly what allows the assistant to read your actual databases instead of just guessing or hallucinating information.
So the crucial takeaway here is that this toolset maps perfectly to the 6 fundamental steps of your research lifecycle. It's not a chaotic bag of scripts, it's a highly organized pipeline.
Which brings us to part 3, ideation and literature review, structuring the chaos. Let's dive into this first phase where we take a vague topic and turn it into actionable, literature-backed research questions.
By hooking directly into Zotero through that MCP we just talked about, the assistant completely takes over the tedious work. I mean, no more folders stuffed with PDFs named paper_final_v3_reallyfinal.pdf, right? You literally just ask the CLI to pull in a paper via a DOI, an archive link, or a URL. The assistant automatically imports it, grabs the full-text PDF, and organizes it. It even handles collection duplicate reconciliation. And it gets better. It uses a specialized literature reviewer agent that can actually read the full text, run semantic searches using embeddings, and synthesize the literature to help you pinpoint actual research gaps. You just focus on the why, and the assistant handles the where on earth is that PDF saved.
Moving on to part 4, experiments and robust analysis, generating publication-ready artifacts. Because once your literature is sorted and your ML experiments are running, we hit the next huge bottleneck.
And that headache is usually analyzing the data and generating figures that actually look good enough for a journal. To solve this, claude-scholar includes a built-in Python package called pubfig. Standard plotting usually means starting with a blank canvas, fighting with messy Python scripts, and manually redrawing everything from multi-panel layouts. But with pubfig integration, you get journal-aware exports like Nature and Science palettes and common scientific plot families right out of the box. Most impressively, it uses a panel-first Figma assembly workflow. You export clean subplots from your code, and it automatically syncs those panels into Figma. Tweak your code, and your Figma layout updates automatically without dragging and dropping. It's a total game changer.
And alongside your figures, you've got your data tables. The integrated PubTab tool handles this. effectively eliminating the absolute nightmare of manually coding LaTeX tables from Excel data. You get an Excel to LaTeX round trip with zero structural drift. It automatically supports exporting every multi-sheet by default. It leverages tabulary backends supporting both classic tabular and modern TBLR output, and you can generate PNG and PDF visual previews directly via the CLI, so you instantly see what your table looks like before compiling the entire paper.
Okay, Part 5, Writing and Project Memory, the Obsidian Knowledge Base. With our data analyzed and figures generated, we transition into maintaining our project memory. Instead of leaving your notes scattered across random text files, claude-scholar manages an Obsidian Vault workflow directly from the CLI. It's a file system-first research knowledge base. Using cross-platform Node.js hooks for automated enforcement, the assistant automatically routes your reading to sources, stable findings to knowledge, and keeps your daily log updates perfectly organized. This structured system is exactly what lets the paper-writing agents reference your actual project history later on when drafting your manuscript. And check out this strict chain of verification. It's called the claim ledger. The rule is simple. Every contribution and result must trace to evidence or remain explicitly speculative. This is a massive failsafe built right in. The assistant literally refuses to confidently state a claim that lacks an explicit evidence record in your Obsidian Vault. It stops the AI from hallucinating results that sound impressive but aren't actually backed up by your data.
Finally, Part 6, Quality Control and Publication, the final polish. We're at the final hurdle, making sure your manuscript is absolutely flawless.
I want you to really think about this. How much time do you currently waste manually checking LaTeX formatting, citation alignment, and page limits? Honestly, it's probably way too much. And this is exactly where the paper self-review skills steps in. Before you even think about hitting submit, you run this in the CLI, and it systematically audits your logical flow, verifies your citations, and ensures you're meeting page limits in a matter of seconds.
And these late-stage advanced publication skills are incredibly powerful. Targeting a top-tier journal, the Nature polishing skill restructures your prose into concise, nature-leaning English. The Nature data skill effortlessly prepares fair metadata and data availability statements. And when you get that inevitable, dreaded pushback from reviewer 2, the review response skill organizes their comments into sharp, evidence-based rebuttals. Plus, the expression skill enforces a really clear, conclusion-first technical communication style across the board.
So, wrapping up this explainer, are you ready to let an assistant handle the heavy formatting lifting so you can reclaim your core role as the actual scientific decision maker? Take a second to imagine your daily research routine without the constant friction of formatting and data wrangling. Start exploring these integrated Codex CLI skills and ask yourself, if you weren't spending hours hunting down citations and fixing LaTeX tables, what real scientific breakthroughs would you finally have the time to pursue?